So let's try that again. This time with some audio. Today, live, I'm going to update my Microsoft Surface 6 Pro. I think that's how it's called. And we're going to update it to Windows 11. We had a great experience updating the production PC to Windows 11 last week, so I thought I'd try something that was a little sketchier. But I think I've become a Windows 11 fanboy. I'm not sure. We'll find out some more a little later on today's show. Be right back. How about that? Check, check, testing. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. How about that? All right, let's see if we can't do something here that will save our bacon. We can do that. Or we can do that. Let's do that. I'm just trying to get my screens arranged so that I can see what's cooking. And so that I can see everything, you know. Everything's a good thing to see. Hello, Ed. Welcome, sir. Glad you're here. Let's see, we can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. That leaves us with that. Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. So after last week, having such a great experience updating to Windows 11 on my production PC, I want to do it again. A different PC this time. So Ed, are you running Windows 11? Are you a Windows 11 guy? I think you mentioned it last week, but I don't remember. Because Windows 11 is a lot better. What's the right way to put it? It's fully cooked. Hello, Eric. Welcome. Glad you're here. Let's see. There he is. There he is right there. And Ed says he is with his clients' laptops. Okay, there you go. Eric, you're doing Windows 11, aren't you? On that new monster PC you built based on the Intel Xeon i5, no, not i5, W5-3525. Is that what it was? That was a beast. Well, I proclaim, not that anybody cares, but I could proclaim that Windows 11 is fully baked, or as fully baked as anything's going to get. Eric has converted to Windows 11 across the board. I don't even know what board we're talking about. So Windows 11 across the board. There you go. That's good. I mean, it does make sense to have everything the same OS for sure. Here for me, it's going to be a little tricky because I do so much tech support. I need to probably have an 11 machine and a 10 machine on hand now. I've been just doing 11 tech support a little bit, but now that I am kind of fully Windows 11, I have to, I guess I got to bite the bullet and do it. Have a struggling TriCaster, but use the laptops for PowerPoint graphics due to the limitations of the TriCaster. Well, Ed, you ought to talk to Eric about the machine he just built, an Obtanium reference system that he actually put more muscle on, that I think will give TriCaster an authentic run for its money. There may be 5% of what the TriCaster can do that vMix on one of those big machines like Eric built won't do, but there's not much. I mean, there's some of the, what was the video toaster that started out with that, and some of those features that they built in early on, you can't necessarily do with vMix, but maybe you can now. I know, maybe you can. So Eric is a vMix fanboy. Oh my gosh. And I certainly am. Dyed in the wool. And it's been fun over the years, and more recently, I get a lot more calls of people that have an aging, ailing TriCaster, and they just don't want to put more money into to repairing it, because it means calling a TriCaster dealer to repair it, because everything in it is proprietary. That's the beauty of the vMix systems, is that they're just general, well, not general, but they're regular stuff. They're the kind of components that you can go to your local electronics store, if you have one, or to Newegg or Amazon or someplace like that, and get what you need. All right. Used it for ESPN graphics to a raw switcher. Well, you ought to tell him, Eric, you ought to tell him to get rid of the raw switcher. That won't happen. Good day, Bill Connor. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Key Phil. Yeah, I know, Ed. I was just giving you a hard time. Oh, that's the worst. Sold to somebody that is no longer around to have to deal with the fallout from their decision. I've seen that. I don't know that I've ever been through it. No, I don't think I've ever been through that personally, but I've seen it, and it's no fun. And it's no fun. I'm kind of my own tech administrator, and so if something doesn't go right, I know who to blame. And I've tried to fire myself, but it doesn't work. You just, some things you just can't do. How are we doing on time? 2 minutes, 22 seconds. There we go. All right. Oh, there it is right there. Okay. All I have to do is look up. So I had a clock in my studio. I keep a clock there, and I keep a clock, well, you can't see it in this shot, but on the wall behind me, so that I can easily glance and see what time it is. And I inevitably glance at those instead of the clock on the screen that, is actually a countdown and tells me countdown to showtime. Yeah. Sorry about that. But, there is a pretty good used TriCaster market. You're going to get pennies on the dollar, but who was it I talked to? Somebody, probably, let's see, I bet it was 10 years ago now. And they had TriCaster, and they had bought them a year or two before. And they wanted to do, high school football games and put together an OB trailer and that kind of stuff. And they had called me, I guess, to talk about vMix. I don't remember. And I said, well, you need to get rid of those TriCasters while they still have value, because you could buy, twice as many vMix PCs for what you've got in those TriCaster PCs. And they would be high-end, do everything you want to, instant replay, all that kind of stuff. And he did. And you know, has lived happily ever after, as they say. So it was good advice. Yeah, that's interesting, Eric. I was looking at the same thing. What Eric is talking about is, you know, for all the TriCasters that get scrapped, they came with a control surface, you know, a giant customized keyboard, um, and typically that was of no value if the TriCaster was of no value. But our good friend Joe DeMax at Central Control wrote some software that would allow the different things like vMix to talk to keyboards like that and allow vMix to use that keyboard. So you could just about program the keyboard using vMix shortcuts to do what it did with the TriCaster. So it makes you know, moving from one machine to the other a little easier. You've got the same board that you're used to, but if you're doing it all in house, but you have to figure out, you know, how to make it function the way you want to. But I've thought about, in fact, I keep my eye out on eBay and Facebook Marketplace and other kinds of places to see if they've got any control surfaces that they don't want, that I'd like to put into my collection. Yeah, it's a little tough when you're when you got the bug and you want to collect things. Oh, we're over time. All right, let's get this show started. Get the show started. And yeah, where are we? We are right here. Be right back. Oh, my window's empty. Let's fix that. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. So welcome. I am now officially, well, I don't know if it's official, but I'm proclaiming it official, a Windows 11 fanboy. Yeah, I never thought that would be the day. You remember last week, or maybe you don't remember last week, but you can go back and watch last week's show. That would have been the March 12th show. Today's March 19th. And we did live here on this show. I updated, oh God, that was crazy. I updated my production PC live to Windows 11. I used another PC back here to do the streaming and the switching, and basically just had a camera perched on this machine while it was rebooting and that kind of stuff. But I just had a desktop capture on it as we went through the whole process. Anyway, it worked pretty much flawlessly, and I've got Windows 11 kind of tweaked a little bit the way I want it. But I thought it would be fun today to update my Microsoft Surface to Windows 11. And that is it right there. We'll just zoom out a little bit, and you can see there it is. And we're just going to do it here live. And Microsoft says that you can do this, but I don't think this has the that trusted platform thing, TMP. Let's see. Let's go over here and let's find out. Okay. So I've got another mouse, and you can see the mouse right there. So let's go to Start, Settings, Windows Updates, and we're going to go over here to installing Windows 11 on eligible devices. I think that's where we want to go. So let's see. That's going to take us to, can I upgrade to Windows 11? Windows Update. No, that's not what I wanted. Let's go back. I did this earlier, but well, let's go to check hardware requirements. Maybe it's there. Yeah, this is where I was before. Here we go. We're just going to get Windows 11. Let's see if it could be that easy. Check for compatibility. Okay. We'll do that. Well, is it going to do anything? There we go. Oh, it wanted to open a window. That's what it was. Okay. Well, it just sends me back here. Well, let's don't do that. Let's, ready to upgrade. Well, let's go right here. Nope, we just did that. We're in a loop. How do we get out of this loop? Ready to upgrade. Let's go there. Well, this is not, this is going to be harder than my big PC was. Let's try this again. Let's get rid of that screen. And let's just Google it, shall we? Let's Google update to Windows 11. There we go. Download Windows 11. Let's try that. Windows 11 Assistant. Download Windows 11. Download now. All right, that's Windows 11 Installation Assistant. Maybe we ought to do the media. We'll do the media tool. Well, but we don't want to just do a fresh installation, I don't think. Well, let's try this. Let's see what happens. We're going to do the installation assistant. Is that doing anything? Oh, it's downloading itself a bunch of times. All right, let's put that in there. Let's see what we get. We're going to accept the license. And we're downloading. Percent complete is 0, 1. Oh, this may take a while. 2. Hopefully it's one of those that speeds up as it goes along. Well, while it does that, I should have done this earlier. Let me tell you a little bit my experience in the last week of being a Windows 11 user. I think, and this is just seat of the pants horsepower stuff, I think that my PC reacts more quickly to my commands. I'm not going to say it's running faster, but it's reacting more quickly. When I ask it to do something, bring up a menu, go to settings, do any of those kinds of things, those menus just pop onto the screen. Whereas with Windows 10, they'd show up whenever the heck they felt like it. Not that I complained about it, because I didn't notice that it was slow until it got faster. But I'm very, very satisfied so far with Windows 10. Let's see. Let's go back. Do we have a desktop capture we can use? Well, that's downloading. Yeah, that's at 17%. So let's go. Yeah, let's go here. And I'm going to just put myself back up there for a second. But what did I want to show you? Oh, I wanted to show you this. So this is the start button. We're going to go into no, we're not going to do that. we're just going to right click down here in the taskbar. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to go to taskbar settings. And Byron, if you're watching, this is the very first thing I did is I went to taskbar behaviors. Oops, you guys can't see that. Let me drag it over there. There we go. I went to taskbar behaviors and I said taskbar alignment on the left. So that really made me feel better. The other thing I did is I hid the search. I took off the task view and I took off the widgets. I just want just plain Jane stuff. And I also said to, let's see, what did I do? Yeah, here we go. Combine the taskbar buttons and hide labels on other taskbars always. So I was really pleased with that. Really pleased with that change. How are we doing here? 35%. I have found that the sys tray down here operates a little bit differently. For example, I could click on this and, I can click on it and get a calendar. Well, there you go. It also tells me anything that I've done today. In fact, I added something to my Dropbox. Well, this was Tuesday. But there we go. So that's good. So can we just click on that and it goes away? There we go. And then the sound is a little different. I think it's actually a little better. It allows me to change. Just hovering over this, I can select the device that I want to. And that was kind of there before. But here it's right there in the volume bar. And I haven't played with too much of these yet, but I'm sure I will. And then let's see. Oh, that's all the same. So the sound and the internet access are the same button. That's interesting. And then my other buttons are still here as before. I've got a problem there, whatever that is. Windows security is telling me I'm not doing something right. So let's take a quick look there. We'll let that populate. What I said earlier about Windows coming up quickly, never mind. Device security, we're just going to dismiss that. It doesn't want me to dismiss it. Oh, there we go. A little slow in operating. We'll get rid of that one, and that should take away, yeah, our little symbol down there. So we're up to 53%. And we're free to keep using our PC. Hey, how about that? That's nice. So let's minimize that. And I don't think we need that. So there we go. So it's kind of funny because I haven't done this before. I mean, on the Surface. So I'm hoping I don't really screw things up. You are always encouraged to back things up before you do these kinds of things. So yeah, you back them up. I didn't, and I may live to regret it, or I may not live if I regret it that much. This is my main kind of business and personal system. So it's got, emails and files and invoices and quotes and all that kind of stuff on there. Passwords, oh my gosh. Passwords out the yin yang. Oh, let's see. What else can we say about Windows 11? The best operating system has got to be the one that you talk about the least. If you're talking about it a lot, it's probably because there's a problem. If it's doing what it's supposed to do, it's a non-issue. It's like your car. You don't go home I've got a 2014 Ford Escape that's my daily driver here to the studio. So that car is 11 years old. And I don't come on this show or talk to my wife or my friends or my family about, oh, that Ford Escape is just the best car. I just love when it does this and love when it does that. No, it's just a tool that gets me where I'm going. Um, I do enjoy some features of it. It's got a sunroof, and I like that in the spring and the fall. But it's just a little teeny SUV. It's just a town. It's a town car, is what it is. So the idea that an operating system would be something worthy of discussion is or conversation, not discussion, but conversation. You walk up to a group of people and say, "Oh, let me tell you about Windows 11." It's just doing so great. vMix works like a dream on it. You can do everything you need, and you just make some updates every now and then, and you're good to go. And boy, that's the end of the conversation right there. It doesn't go much further. But if you get into something like vMix, that's a different story altogether. Now I can talk vMix all day long and not repeat myself. I can tell stories about vMix. I can tell tips and tricks. And of course, vMix has, in terms of features and depth, it has left me in the dust. It's left me in the dust. There's so much more in that software than I could ever hope to master. And some of it I haven't even attempted. All right, let's see how we're doing here. We're at 90%. I guess I should look up like that and say, oh, we're 90%. 91. So this is good. So this is the most boring show in the world because we get to watch something download and I try to fill up dead air. And those folks in the chat are not helping me in the least. So you know who you are. We need some feedback here. 96%. And this is live. That's live right there. Yes, indeed. I could have done this. In fact, I've watched several videos where people have obviously made a video. They haven't live streamed it, but they've made a video, and so they've compressed all this stuff just down to nothingness, so that you zip right through it. So we've done the download. Okay, now we're verifying the download. That's an important part, I guess. Make sure no parts of it got left out somehow. And now we're installing the download. Oh my gosh. Said it's okay to keep using your PC, but we'll restart your PC 30 minutes after we reach 100% on this screen. So be sure to save your work frequently. Well, heck, I think this is installing faster than it downloaded, but we'll see. It might hit, what is it, the famous thing that I get when I'm getting a Windows update, that it gets hooked at about 74%. It's just like 74, 74, 74, 74. Oh, golly. Okay, so this, if you're just joining us, this is a Windows 11 update, not a fresh install, Windows 11 update on a Microsoft Surface Pro 6. So Surface Pro 6 or Surface 6 Pro? I think it's a Surface 6 Pro. Anyway, I've had it for quite a while. They're up to this, what is it, the Surface 10 now? And I admired the one that Tim at vMix had and said, that's nice. The screen's a little small, but, I can just hold it closer to my face. But now that I have new eyes, I have to hold everything far away from my face and use readers. But that's okay. I like the new eyes. I'm going to keep them. I am going to keep them. All right, we're at 36%. Oh, excuse me, 42% complete on installing, which makes us just about halfway. 43%. 43%. 43%. Yeah, I can't wait to try kind of Windows 11 and vMix on all sorts of things. I want to try the the instant replay to see if there is any difference there. I am convinced, however, that at least I'm not as convinced as I was before a few minutes ago. Some things run faster in Windows 11, I think. But I was bringing up something just a second ago, and it didn't run faster, so maybe, who knows. My setup today, this PC is an Intel i9 10th generation, so it's a 10900X on an Asus, I think it's a Z590 motherboard with a Gigabyte GeForce RTX 4070 Ti. Very nice little card. It's got 5 outputs on it. It's just amazing. So it's got 3 display ports and 2 HDMIs. So it's always nice to be able to pop an HDMI in there and display something. I do that quite a bit in moving displays around the studio, or in changing the content of displays around the studio. See, we're stuck at 43%. Also using the Hollyland Lark. Yeah, the print's too small. But it is the Hollyland Lark. Come on, Tom. Here we go. Oh, Lark Max. And I really like it. Comes in this little box. And you've got space here for the receiver and 2 mics. And the box itself has a battery in it. So you can charge everything by just plugging it in. I can see here that the box has one little light on it. It's flashing for you, but it's not flashing for me. And that tells me that I've got, I need to recharge this box, so I'll do that after the show today. But it really is cool. And I still have my Audio-Technica 897, but it's kind of fallen on occasional use because this little guy right here can go with me wherever I go. So if I'm wandering around the studio, I don't have to turn around and shout towards the mic. 43%. That's the new magic number. We're hung up at 43%. How long will we stay at 43%? My camera today is the PTZ Optics 4K. So this is the Move 4K. It's the 12X model. And we're bringing it in 1080p 60 or 1080p 5994 over NDI. So it's coming in NDI HX. I think that's HX3. So we're doing some, we're using some horsepower decoding that. But that's okay. It works well, and it doesn't fill up take up a lot of bandwidth. The camera that's on this little guy right over here is a BirdDog P120, so that is a full NDI feed, so we're getting all full feed on that one. So that's mic, that's camera, that's graphics card, that's CPU, that's motherboard. Yeah, so nothing fancy, but just enjoying the system that I built, I guess, 2 years ago. And I swapped things in and out of it, testing and seeing if it's an improvement or not. Right now, we're doing a 1080p 5994. Frames per second is 60. Render time is 5 milliseconds, 6 milliseconds. GPU memory is 1% because I'm using resizable bar. Well, I'm using resizable bar, and I must not be using a lot of GPU memory. CPU for vMix is 567. Total CPU is 14. So we're just cruising. We're streaming one stream 1080p 60 to YouTube, and we're making one recording 1080p 60 to a second drive here on the system. And we're currently using, let's see, what are we using? We are using 87 inputs. A lot of them, you know, this one is picture, that one's picture, that's a desktop capture, that's a desktop capture. That one just, well, it doesn't show us anything today because everything's moved. But it did show me that we're up to 71%. Woohoo! We jumped right up there, baby. But the inputs down here at the bottom tend to be somewhat of a closet. So yeah. Well, hello, Jodamax. You got the word that we were talking about you. Yep. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Love to know what's going on new in your world. We're doing a Windows 11 update on a Microsoft Surface to show how easy it is, but boy, is it taking its own sweet time, as it were, own sweet time. But we're going to make the mistakes here so you don't have to. Oh, Jodamax says you'll find out what's new in just a few weeks. That would be at NAB. You coming over to the States? Yeah, man. Good deal. 73% and hanging out. %. I take that back. So there we go. 74% installing. And then obviously we have a camera on it. We could use desktop capture. Let's see if we can just pop up a desktop capture window here real quick. vMix. Desktop capture. There we go. And now on the PC, let's bring in a new input. NDI desktop capture. And it's going to show up here. So let's just take display 1. And we'll bring that in. And so that is now where we are officially. We can just minimize that. There we go. And then, you know, I always like to be part of the show. So let's add a layer and add me, and then reduce me down and crop me a little bit. There we go. And just drop me out of the way down there. And we are at 76%. So there we go. There we go. Welcome, Gunner. Glad you're here. Joe asks if I'm attending NAB. Joe, I'm not attending NAB this year. Taking a year off. We're actually going to be traveling a little bit around the southeast. Actually around Florida. So it just happened to coincide with NAB and had to make the choice not to go this year, maybe next year. But I'm always interested in what's going on at NAB, what's new. The vMix guys said last night that, you know, well, let me say, this is what they said. Doesn't mean it's true. But they said last night that they would be highlighting vMix 28 at NAB. But, you know, I guess NAB is in April, but it doesn't start April 1st. That would be just like the vMix guys to do NAB April 1st and bring out something that they've been working on behind the scenes and just lay it on out there and blow everybody away with it. You know, vMix 29. Or vMix 28.5. That would be interesting. Yeah, IBC has really gotten the good stuff. IBC has really gotten the good stuff. If anybody has ever thought about going to IBC, I really encourage it. It's a, you know, especially for us Yanks, it's a real treat to get overseas, number one, but then just to kind of get immersed in the diversity of the folks that attend something like that. I mean, NAB NAB used to be pretty diverse when we had a lot of Asians coming. I don't know if they'll be coming back this year, but for the last 4 or 5 years, NAB had fewer participants from that side of the world. But IBC is, obviously everybody in Europe can get to IBC in, half a day by train. So we'll see. It is heard that there have been a few vMix units operating in Florida. I think after NAB, traditionally, Martin Sinclair from vMix stays in the States and hides out in Florida because it's winter over in Australia. Our spring is their fall. So he likes the warm weather. So if you're, hanging out in Orlando or Tampa or Delray Beach, and you see Martin Sinclair go by on a bicycle, it might just be Martin Sinclair. All right, 79%. We're still waiting. Still waiting, 79%. And we're not downloading anything anymore. We've already downloaded it. We've already verified it. And we are 79% complete in installing it. And here's the beef I've got with percentages. This doesn't mean time. I think it means progress on installation, not the amount of time that's taken. But, we're now in the 79th percent task. And the 79th percent task may take 5 minutes. And then when we get to the 80th percent task, that may take 5 seconds. Oh, there we are. Now we're in 80. So we got 5 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Okay, so maybe I overdid that. Yeah, it's interesting to see, or not having been to IBC in about 6 years. It'll be interesting to see, to compare, Joe. I think you do both those shows. Which one has come back better from COVID, and if they've changed in the way they operate. I know Las Vegas has used the last 3 or 4 years to refurbish their halls. I think they started with the South Hall, and then they went, did they go to the North Hall? But I know they're refurbishing the Central Hall right now. So we're up to 80%. So the Central Hall is out of pocket this year. And I would imagine everybody from the Central Hall, got moved to the North Hall. vMix has, in my lifetime, or in my experience with NAB, let me put it that way, has traditionally been an inhabitant of the South Hall. And that's where all the cameras and gear, and I think Blackmagic and B&H Photo typically have been in the South Hall, towards the front. And then the big camera companies have typically been in the central hall, so we'll see if they'll obviously have to move somewhere. 81%, yeah, baby. I haven't looked at my NAB map yet. I could do that, and it would tell me. It would. Twiddling my thumbs. This is what we call twiddling. Nobody ever does it, but it's a euphemism for not doing anything, just sort of waiting around for something to happen. Something to happen. Yeah, something to happen. Okay, well, we're out of time for this show. Let's move to the post show. We'll be right back. Let's see if we can do this elegantly without causing any kind of let's see, let's go here. There we go. Now we can go to the outro very easily. All right. So we are now in the post show. And you notice how clear this graphic looks right back here? It shouldn't be that clear. So let's find it. Find it down here. And let me show you what I'm doing. We're still at 82%. So let's go down here. We'll take that. Let's go there. And we're going to take that guy and we're going to blur it so that it looks like it's really in the background. So let's add a Gaussian blur to it. And that should be about right there. And then we can go back to my picture up here in the post show and say, yeah, that looks like it should be. It might be a little too blurred. Might be a little too blurred. Twiddling your thumbs. I can't believe you were sitting still that long. You know, that may be where he gets his best ideas. It's like, okay, a perpetual motion machine. Let's see. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have several grandchildren, but I have two older grandsons. I say older, one 15, one, I guess, 12. And I just bought them some Tesla stock for their portfolio, starting out their portfolio. So each one of them has a share of Tesla stock. And the oldest is a real space nut. So he's following Elon quite closely. And the second one follows his big brother quite closely. So I gave them both the same thing. We'll see what happens. It's up 4% today. So in fact, it jumped up 7% the day I got it for him. So I was like, yeah, that's what we need. And then it dropped 8% the next day. So it's the epitome right now of a volatile stock. But that'll give the boys a good chance to at least be experienced with it. Or have some experience with it. Let's put it that way. Welcome, Jesper. Well, I'm not blurring this video. I'm just blurring that video because I want it to look like it's really, that it's not video. It's a poster. It's a new poster I put back there. But I forgot to blur it in the pre-show. All right, let's see how we're doing here. 83%. So we're coming along, but we're just not coming along very quickly. But it is an interesting comment to make that we blur it. I was so glad when they got the Gaussian blur. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I really do. I like having that because it's very effective sometimes. I wish that I'd like to be able to, I guess I could do it with some sort of, what do they call that? Hang on a second. I'll come up with the phrase. Well, I won't come up with a phrase. I guess it's a luma key. But we'll see. Anyway, I would like the Gaussian blur to be able to or at least be able to crop more than just XY axis. Can you crop more than XY axis? No. That's all you've got. Let me just double check that. Cropping, that would be on position. And cropping is just XY axis. Yep, that's right. Okay, so we're good. We're good. We're good. Oh, and look at the progress we're making. We're up to 83%. So you guys are welcome, to go get a hamburger or something like that and come back and still be going. All right, let's see. So Joe says you could combine the blur with a matte if you wanted more control. Yes, I could. What I also would like to be able to do is to darken this so that it appears to be more in the shadow behind me than a bright light. I mean, I can go into it. I'm not going to show you, but I'm just going to go into it right now. And I can do the color adjust, and I can make it a little darker like that, but that's not the kind of darkness I really want. I can do well, that wouldn't help much either. I guess the alpha would help. Yeah, there we go. We add a little alpha to it, and that's more like. All right, Ed says it'll pop around 94% and suddenly be ready to reboot. Well, I sure hope so, because we're stuck at 84%. And Otis is just making us hungry. They are building a Whataburger 6 miles from me. I can't wait, because generally we have to drive 12 to 15 miles to get to a Whataburger. Yeah, that's right. Qualify that. It could be different on a surface. It's 84% and it's still there. So we'll see. But if you've never had a Whataburger, this is my ad for a Whataburger. They cook the hamburger when you make the order. They're not all pre-cooked and sitting in a cooler. I mean, in a heater somewhere. They cook them right there. So it takes a little longer. If you're going through the drive-through, you're gonna have to wait. And during COVID, the Whataburger, about 20 miles, 15 miles away, was one of the few restaurants that was open, and all they were doing was drive-through, and the line was 40 cars long to get to the drive-through. But you could use their app and order on the app, and they would bring it out to the car. Those were good times. Those were good times. And we can see here that we're up to 84% where we were just a minute ago. Ed says that it will pop around 94% and suddenly be ready to boot. So, Ed, we're holding you to that. Of course, there's always the qualifier that it might not. It might not. So yeah, here we go. 84%. Click buzzword. And what you're looking at actually up here is a screen capture. It's not the camera capture. So this is a screen capture using vMix desktop capture. And so it's coming in over Wi-Fi from the Surface to my PC over Ethernet. So yeah. But the Wi-Fi is pretty good. The Wi-Fi is pretty good. I mean, any movement that I make here with the camera, you see it at about the same time that I make it. Now, my picture over here is overlaid in my PC. Okay, so boy, as exciting as this is, it's going to be hard to beat this next week. Hard to beat this next week. Oh, hold on. There's news on the percentage front. We're now up to 85%. Woohoo! I don't know if Eric's still here, but I actually have some orders for some vMix Obtainium machines that I'm going to be building, I guess, starting next week, and using the W5 2565X, because that's what I proposed to the client, and we didn't need and using the Gigabyte motherboard. I wanted to use the Asus motherboard, but they were on a little bit of a budget. I mean, how much of a budget can you be on if you're spending 5 figures on a PC? Actually, 2 of them. And so, number one, I may be calling Eric Tabor, since he's built one already, for some advice. But number two, I may be able to show you guys some of that next week. And we can have a look at what's going on with that. And Joe is still a AMD boy, fanboy, Threadripper boy. Just teasing. Yeah, I think it's budgetary that vMix proposed the workstation Xeon chips for their Obtainium series. What was I listening to? Somebody the other day saying that they could, or maybe it was the vMix Funtime live show guys last night, that you could spend $7,000 on a Threadripper. Holy cow, that's a lot of bucks. $7,000 on a Threadripper. Oh, you know what? Let's have some fun with this for just a second. Oh, that's wrong. Wrong mouse. Let's go here to the post-show screen, and we are going to add a layer, and we'll layer it right here, and it's going to be the Surface Display, and can we edit it? Let's reset it, and then we'll make it go smaller, and then we'll turn it on. Can we turn it on? Yeah, there we go. And then we can crop it. Let's blow it back up. I just want to get the percentage on there. There we go. Now we're talking. And let's sharpen that one. For all that did. Now we don't have to keep going back and forth. All right. Joe is not a fanboy. And his first ever AMD, and it's his first build, but the Intel option seems so poor. This machine costs 5,500 pounds, so there's nothing I've not been able to do, including multiple 4K 60 sources. Oh, that's good. That's good, man. What? We're up to 86%. What video card did you go in there? I know you didn't use AMD. That wouldn't work. And what Threadripper did you use? Inquiring minds want to know. I am looking forward, and I've already been counseled by the vMix guys, but I'm looking forward to the 8K system and vMix 8K, which they say vMix is capable of doing 8K, but there's no hardware out there that's capable of running vMix at more than like 1 frame a second. What do we got from Ed here? His first major computer was an Asus Double Pentium 3 with a Matrox DigiSuite and Encriber for $16,000. Ooh, holy cow. Holy cow. NVIDIA 4080 Super. Oh, I just bought 2 of those yesterday. And a Threadripper 7970X. 7970X. So what is a 7970X? 7970X. 7970X. Ooh, that's $2,000 US dollars. That's pretty pricey there, Joe. Joe has tested vMix 8K on an AMD EPYC and NVIDIA 86000 rig and managed to get a couple of 8K inputs. Oh my gosh. Render time was about 15 milliseconds, so not comfortable. Well, that's amazing. What kind of frame rate? Curious what kind of frame rate. Yeah, I didn't know the difference, Ed. So you could have stuck with your guns. All right, we're up to 86% here. Right there. All right, Joe was at 60 frames a second, and he had a few red cameras, so he took the opportunity. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing a vMix reference system on 8K. Oh, yes. '86. We're getting there. You know what's going to happen, Ed, is it's going to get to your 94%, and then it's going to say, not enough space. I should have gone through and at least emptied the trash. Let me do that. Okay, now I feel better. Jiminy. 86%. Tick, tick, tick. Oh, this week I found another vMix Go. If you remember several months ago, I found a vMix Go on eBay. It was going for, I think they wanted about $3,000 for it. And it didn't have the AJA capture cards, and it didn't have the audio interface. But it ran. And they were thinking it was worth $3,000. Well, with, selling both those, especially the AJA cards, it would be, that's the value at that point, other than the case. And I bought it for the case. So I wrote the folks on eBay and I said, this thing is not worth anything without the AJA cards and the audio interface. I said, you'd be lucky to get $1,000 for it. And they wrote me back and they said, make us an offer. So I made them an offer of $1,000 and they took it. So you remember me bringing it in here and refurbing it. It's got an i9 in it now. It just screams. It's wonderful. And we put liquid cooling in it. So it's and of course the next thing will be to update it to Windows 11. But I found another one yesterday or the day before. It's a vMix Go Basic, which I'm not sure what the difference was between the Basic and the Plus, which is the one I have now. And it still has the cards in it. Still has the AJA card in it. And I've made some offers going back and forth with them. And hopefully maybe I can make them an offer that they'll accept. Oh, we're up to 87% in the next day or so. And I'm thinking that would be obviously bringing it in, gutting it, new power supply, new motherboard, new CPU, new capture card. Don't know about the Aja card. We'll just have to wait and see about that, and the audio interface, but I think that would be okay. I probably need to find somewhere to put the liquid cooling. And I think that would make a scrappy little system. I think that would make a scrappy system, especially for somebody that was doing sports and hauling a PC and all the other goodies up to a press box. Just to be able to take this in its case with a handle and take it all the way up there. It's got, wireless keyboard and mouse and a very clear screen. vMix had those made by Acme Portable Computers. They have an office in California. I think they're out of Taiwan. And I picked up 2, 4, 6. I picked up 12 of those in a lot on eBay several years ago, and they were beat to pieces. And I've been gradually, little at a time, doing some metal work on them to beat all the dents out of them and get them ready for repainting. It has not been a high priority project, so it's taken some time. But those were the older versions that had a built-in keyboard. That if this is the screen right here, the keyboard would lay out like this and then fold up to cover the screen. And it made them really heavy, and the keyboard's really clunky. And I think I'll just do wireless mouse and keyboard and not put that keyboard on at all. 87%. Kind of wish vMix was still making hardware, but I'm kind of glad they're not. If they were, I'd be out of business for sure. Or I'd be a vMix hardware reseller. Maybe that. But it's more fun to do the custom ones. All right, still waiting here, 87%. We're waiting on Ed's magic 94%, which may or may not happen. It does. It does. It's a sweet system. I was playing with it last night. They have a Roadrunner logo because you can't catch them. You know, it's funny. I bet the folks that named that company had never seen those cartoons. Maybe they did. Maybe they did it tongue in cheek. I don't know. How many of you are familiar with the Roadrunner cartoon series, and the Coyote, and the Roadrunner, and the Acme products that are used in that show? Sorts of rockets and launchers and fire, what do you call them, flamethrowers, and all sorts of other stuff. Ooh. So when you say a lunchbox, Ed, that's just, it still requires a monitor and keyboard and mouse, or it has a monitor built in like the old compacts? There we go. Hey, Tommy. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Appreciate you tuning in. Meep, meep. That's right. That was the Roadrunner. And actually, I think it was Plymouth that created a Roadrunner car and paid and adopted the logo. I don't remember if the horn did a meep meep or not. It might have. All right, we're up to, 88%. We'll get that mouse out of there. So it doesn't distract. If you've just joined us, we are on the exciting adventure. Yes, indeedy. You're just on the edge of your seat doing a vMix, check that, a Windows 11 update or upgrade, I would say, to my Microsoft Surface Pro laptop. It's really not a laptop. It's really just a tablet with a keyboard that attaches beautifully to it, but it acts like a laptop. And we have downloaded it, the Windows 11 update, and we have verified it, and we are now on 80. Oh, whoa. Percent complete 0. Ed, what have you done? We're starting again. This is a crushing blow. 11%. I have seen that though on some Windows updates, some of the Windows 10 updates, where it'll download it and it'll install it and it'll get all the way up to 100 and then it'll start installation again as if there was more than one part. And so I'm hoping that there's more than one part here and it's not just getting to 86% and bombing out and starting again, because this could take forever. So I'm going to give it 10 more minutes, and then I've got to get on to other things. Yeah, you're right about that. Oh, that's a good one. Do you remember who made your lunchbox, Ed? Is it an Acme? Of course, with a 386DX running Windows 3.1, it's got a few years on it. Oh yeah, meep meep. It's a classic. It's a classic. Of course, it's, it promotes violence of, at least against coyotes. Okay. Oh well, we're up to 36%. That's better than now 42%. So we're moving along pretty quickly this time. I say that. We got to 43%, and we kind of hung out around there for a while last time. So we'll see what we do here. 43%. Oh well, let's see if I'm going to look down on it. I guess I'm going to look right there, and that's going to be looking at it. Oh goodness. Well, I am hopeful that it won't self-destruct. In fact, I'm hopeful that that my laptop won't self-destruct, because it's taking its sweet time. Fortunately, I was wise enough to put it on battery. I mean, to put it on shore power. So it's not just running on battery. Although I think it runs just as fast on battery as it does on shore power. You know how some laptops you have to go in and adjust the power settings because they kind of cripple themselves when they're on battery in order to extend the battery life. Oh yeah, it's got a 4-day battery life running at 5%. But the Surface seems to run at, or maybe I made that adjustment early on. I don't remember. But the battery holds a charge forever. I mean, battery is good for probably 16 hours. Probably not 16 hours of streaming video or playing YouTube videos or anything like that, but just in terms of surfing the net and replying to emails, things like that, it seems to hold steady pretty well. Up to 50%. Oh, 53. Holy cow. Ed's behind the times. It's up to 67. Holy cow, look out. Don't get in its way. Oops. The screen went blank. Checking for updates. Are we done? Checking for updates. How can it be checking for updates? It just did an update. There should be okay, the updates are installed, but Windows 11 setup. Oh. Getting a few things ready. This looks like it might be real software. And it didn't even reboot. Of course, that's one of the first things I think I should do with it, is reboot it. Checking your PC. Choose what to keep. Making sure you're ready to install. What do you mean install? You've already installed it. Getting updates. Checking for updates. 2%. Let's, can we do this? It did pop. Let's see if we can. Here we go. %. So these are updates to the Windows 11 install, right? So while it does, it says I can still do things. So I want to see how my disk is. Yeah, there we go. That's not very good. We are full to the brim. We've got 4 gigabytes left. It was only 120 to begin with, 118 this says. So we're going to have to go do some surgery. I bet there's a Windows old. Well, there's not a Windows old on here. Maybe there will be when it's done. Okay, 41%, 42%. %, 45%. Getting nervous now. Nick, welcome. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Nick has been changing the political atmosphere in North Carolina these days. Congratulations. Good work. Back on the radio. %. So Ed, we're back to the 40s. Doing both his shows with vMix every day. That's right. So your radio show is also being live streamed then, eh? And you've got what, a morning show and an evening show, or morning show and an afternoon show? Tell us and give us and put in a link in the chat so that we can take a look. Hey, John. Glad to see you. Glad to have you. Nick has got 2 morning shows, one at 5 a.m. There's no such thing on my clock. The other at 7 a.m. Awesome, man. That's great. Nick and Joe DeMax were my 2, what's the best way to put it so that it doesn't sound demeaning, because it's not. But I'm going to say my 2 juvenile muses or mentors, both far younger than I am, both far smarter than I am, and just loved interacting with them time and time again about tech stuff. It was fun. And Nick, are you still doing the show with Amnon, Computers 2K Now, on Sunday mornings? I talked to Amnon was it just last week? Such a gentle human being. I like him. Where are we? 46%. 46%. Every Sunday at 9. And that's computers2know.com, I think. Computers, the numeral 2, the initial K.com. Let's see if I can put that in the chat. Will it let me put that in the chat? Sometimes links don't get allowed. Yeah, there we go. And I know it looks like computers to know, but it's not really. Still at 40, what is that? 46%. Gee-many. Gee-many. All right, let's check something here. Okay. %46. At this point, we're just checking for updates. We're not downloading updates. We're not, what are we not doing? We're not doing a lot of stuff. Maybe I need to come over here and make some space. All right, nothing big there. Couple gigs there. Let's see what's in there. Well, 3D objects, holy cow. Well, we can get rid of that. That's a big one. Not sure what all that stuff is. Not a lot there. Well, we'll have to go through this later. That could cause this to crash, you know? If I don't have enough space. I never even considered that. I remember when I bought this machine and it said, you know, it had 120 gigs. I'm like, well, I'm just going to use it as a laptop. I'm just going to use it for email and yeah, you know how that goes. And now it's full and you can't upgrade it. I mean, there may be a way I can use a USB drive. I guess I could offload some stuff onto a USB drive. All right, checking for updates, 46%. Tick, 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 tick. And I don't really have an option to do anything at this point. I'm still running Windows 10. And let's see if I can. Yep, still 10. So I guess I'll have to reboot in order to get 11, or it'll reboot for me. Right now it's running the show. Well, guys, I guess 10 minutes has passed. So I'm going to cut you guys loose. I tell you what, I'm going to leave the stream up. And I'm going to occupy myself with other things. So if you want to keep watching this, I can't imagine how unexciting it is. But I will let it go and let you have as much fun as you want to with it. And when it's done, we'll cut the stream. So I'm going to go over to the other part of the studio, to the PC building part, and lay out some parts for a PC that I'm building for a hockey arena up in New England. And we'll see. I'll check back in on you in a minute. How about that? I won't take it personally if you leave now. I mean, after all, I am. Probably ought to turn this mic off. Otherwise, you're going to hear just a bunch of boxes scraping around. %. I'm just going to mute my mic and I'll come back in a minute. It is showing progress, but slowly. What did I do? Check, check, check. I don't think Well, we're showing some progress here. Making sure you're ready to install. Well, I'm ready. You're not ready? Holy cow. Making sure you're ready to install. Please wait. This may take a few minutes. Okay? I'll wait. I'll be back. After all of that, it says, what needs your attention? The following things need your attention to continue. This PC can't be upgraded to this version of Windows. Your PC isn't supported yet on this version of Windows. Windows Update will automatically offer you this version of Windows once it's been resolved. After an hour, it tells me that. We're going to refresh and see what it does. Nothing. We'll refresh again. Well, can we just X out of it then? Are you sure you want to quit? No. Refresh. Yeah, really. So I'm not feeling as warm and fuzzy about Windows 11 as I was before. And it's left me here, and it says refresh, but it really doesn't do anything. So I'm going to X out of it, and I'm going to quit. Setup is cleaning up before it closes. Yep. So it says Windows 11 needs to be installed in an unauthorized way. Oh my goodness. Eric says create a bootable Windows 11 USB drive. And this says something went wrong. Select try again, and if that doesn't work, select contact Microsoft for help. Well, I was just trying to X out of it, so let's try again. Checking device compatibility. Oh, are we going to start this whole process again? No, something went wrong. Okay, so we'll cancel. Are you sure you want to cancel? Well, yeah. So where are we? We're where we were before. Well, alrighty then. It's funny because I checked on Microsoft's website last night, just to answer the question, could a Microsoft Surface Pro 6 be updated? And the answer was sure. Yeah, easy peasy. Maybe I didn't read enough fine print. Maybe I didn't. All right, so I got a security update for Windows 10, I guess it is. It doesn't really say, but I'm on Windows 10, so there is there. Well, yeah, there is that. And I would rather have my back teeth pulled than do a clean install on this system. So yeah. I'm going to call it a wash. You get it? A wash. So we'll have to see. I'll do some more research on it and see where we get on it. So Windows 11 easily installed on a Microsoft Surface Pro 6. Not happening. Not happening. Appreciate you guys. Going to call this stream over and out. And I will catch you on the flip side.